She is just like Nick. They are a great fit for each other. I don't wish them on anyone else. They both don't know that they do what they do. They both see themselves a certain way, and it is the opposite of how they are in reality and how the outside world sees them. And in their mind, they don't feel like they need to look at themselves and figure out what they're doing wrong. The rest of the world needs to bend to their will and understand why they're geniuses and everyone else is dumb.
April is just a dog chasing cars. She wouldn't even know what to do if she caught it. She just does things.
So, those two being exactly the same is great for the rest of us. Remember that these are not normal people. Remember, these are not, I'm sorry, but they're not. These are not people who think like you. These aren't even people who think like me. These are people who have their own world. They don't have friends outside of it. They've built their universe, and they intend to keep it. If you can think about it through that lens. So Nick announces he's doing a show Saturday. And every time Nick announces he's doing a show, MN Public Records drops a shitload of documents from different hearings. This one is from the Child Protective Services hearing. This is where they get to talk to all the people. I think this is from June. This court thing took place in June. Remember, this is a man who got arrested with an ounce of cocaine in his house, ketamine pills. April's charged with 5th-degree felony drug possession because her debit cards were covered in coke. She had a straw next to her debit cards. She had a vial, a bullet of coke on all of that. Like, she just basically kept her whole snorting kit right there. And I'm convinced, by the way, that Nick did give April a vial of cocaine while we were all hanging out, and she brought it home.
Probably.
I'm convinced. And she was doing cocaine during the show. I've been watching some clips back. I had an idea back then, but bringing it up was only going to cause a massive fight. And she would do this thing. When I talk about April and Nick being the same person, they are the same manipulator. So okay. I would talk to April about, like, you can't do that shit on the show. I can't cover for you when you behave that way, or I can't cover for you if you're going off and doing coke, or if you're going to be on the show, strung out and high. Like, I can't. Like, people are going to be able to say whatever they want.
I'm the same person. It doesn't change me.
It was this weird thing where she hated the internet for talking shit about her, and she had to quit the show because the internet was getting to her. But nothing the internet was saying was incorrect. So what am I supposed to do? You're behaving in a way that people observe your behavior. And then when they observe you observe your behavior, you act like they're the bad guys. You're a broadcaster. You're putting shit out there. You're on a visual medium, and people are noticing things about you. And it's like it didn't register. She didn't have to take responsibility for anything. So I would confront her on this, and she would yell at me and scream at me, and I'm a monster, I'm a terrible guy. Then she would go to Nick, and she would tell Nick he's a monster, he's awful, he's this terrible guy, because I'm confronting her about cocaine. He would just give her more cocaine and tell her how it was good, it was fine, and Aaron's a prude, and and then Nick would come to me and going, I'm helping you out, buddy. I'm just, when she comes, like, she's just really, she just gets really crazy, and she just starts, going off, and I just, I tell her it's okay that you.
Yeah, I don't think it goes to that level. That seems
right.
That seems a lot like Nick there. Just kind of assumed he could just keep strumming you along.
It's not fun. It's not a great time.
Really?
Says, so you were convinced Nick gave her coke to bring, but you weren't sure. Then how did you know she was running off doing it during the show? I'm going back in time now. I'm thinking back to all of this stuff. But there were times where I noticed April was on something, and I would tell her, I would be like, I can't protect you if you're going to. Here's the deal. Everybody talks shit about everybody. It's just that Nick and April would lie about, well, you know what? Nick would lie about talking shit. April wouldn't. Like, April said a lot of shit about Kayla to me, and eventually she would say it to Nick, and then eventually, like, she had a lot of bad shit to say about Kayla. Kayla's ruined him, and Kayla's taken away a lot of great things from him, and I would never treat him that way, and she took that show away from him, and he loved doing that show, and she ruined it for him. I'm like, She doesn't even go down there, dude. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
How did she ruin the show?
Well, I'm sure Nick told her that. Like, Nick and April would tell each other their warped perspective of what their partners are doing. Meanwhile, their partners are upstairs telling each other, I can't deal with this person. They're gaslighting the shit out of me. They're like, it was basically, if we were all alone together, we were talking shit about each other.
Wow, you make this whole drug polycule thing sound so fun.
Death. Like, it's a dead end. You're done. Until you decide to break it all down and do a 180 and go back down the other way, you are in a cul-de-sac right now. Not a good, peaceful Wisteria Lane kind. We're talking like dead-end cul-de-sac. You can still go back the way you came, but if you don't, it's over. Like, it's done. And I remember Kayla telling me one time after I'd left, she goes, oh, no, April says this is the last relationship she'll ever be in. And I said, oh, Kayla, sweetie, you don't understand how April works. She said the same thing to me when we got together. And she said the same thing about her boyfriend before that. Kayla,
yeah,
it's all part of the game, sweetheart. So
everyone's the last relationship.
Everyone's the last relationship, right? I will say this. If I had to rank Rekieta family parents, like the kids' grandparents, Kayla's stepdad's my favorite dude. He's great. I like that guy. Dan's awesome. Dan's a stand-up, no-nonsense guy. Then I would go Kayla's mom, then Nick's dad, Nick's mom. But I think the Rekietas are the perfect example. You know, they have this saying about rich families, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations.
Okay.
Where somebody works really hard and builds something up.
Mm-hmm.
The next generation, they kind of live on it a little, but they're still able to kind of make their own way a little bit. And then the third generation is just a complete spoiled who ruins everything.
Yeah.
Nick Rekieta is the perfect example of shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. He is the walking embodiment of that saying. It's never been more perfect.
Yeah, I don't understand why she's there at all at this point with everything that's happened. You would think, I don't want to be on the internet. I don't want to be involved with any of this stuff. Well, Kiwi Farms is on Nick like stink on a turd, so you might as well, if you don't want to be on the internet, you might as well get away from internet guy, because that's what Nick is.
Yeah. Sam Show says, I just love that it always gets worse and worse, and I'm always surprised. Yeah, right? I mean, at this point, we should just be ready for dumb shit. Honky says April can't show support to her stepkids. Yeah, she didn't even come home the day of Charlotte's birthday party to help get ready. Kayla and I did that. April said, oh, I was out getting Easter baskets for the kids. She ended up getting them those shitty, like $10 prepackaged wicker Easter baskets with like some Butterfingers and shit in them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so you weren't like putting them together. You literally walked into Walmart, grabbed 3 of them, and got the fuck out. That's a 5-minute trip. And then she admitted, she goes, I am in a booth right now at the Chinese restaurant crying my eyes out with Nick. It's like, yeah, because you guys are drug addicts and you can't control your emotions. Because Kayla and I were like, where the
Chinese restaurant?
Well, because Kayla and I were like, where the fuck are you? Like, your daughter, we're getting ready for her 10th birthday party. And
you're not here.
And you're not here. And I told her earlier that day, be home by 11:30 if you could, because, I need some help getting stuff ready and all that. Kayla ended up coming with her 5 kids, and we ended up getting everybody ready and going. All those 2 retards had to do was bring themselves. So, look, it's these aren't the smartest people in the world. And April can't show support